need to know she'll be safe. Kathleen Kane wasn't honest when she said she prosecuted 3,000 cases. She admitted it was more like 24. Of Kane's few cases, a judge rejected a weak plea deal she made because of the brutality of the crime and age of the victim. Kane also went soft on a rapist of a 16-year-old who was released and later assaulted 2 more women. And Kane hasn't tried a case in the last 5 years. We just can't risk our family's safety on Kathleen Kane.
This was an ad put out by a Republican group in support of the Republican candidate for Attorney General in the state of Pennsylvania. As you can see right here, it says rape victim's dad calls GOP group's ad about Kane a lie. The father of a rape victim had denounced as a lie a Republican group's campaign commercial slamming as soft on rape Kathleen Kane. And he sent a letter to, and here it is right here. Why are they using negative television advertisement against my family and attacking Kathleen Kane? Her opponent, David Freed, and those who made that advertisement should be ashamed. The advertisement says that Kathleen Kane made a plea bargain in a rape case that a judge says wasn't tough enough. I know that's a lie because it was my daughter that was the victim in this case. The advertisement is offensive to me and my family. I'd like to ask the people who made this outrageous advertisement if they would like their daughter's tragic story all over television. What makes this advertisement even more offensive is that it's not even true. Kathleen Kane had nothing to do with the guilty plea or the sentencing in this case. The work was done by another assistant attorney general. Ms. Kane was not the attorney who handled our case. Ms. Kane was not part of any guilty plea or sentencing. She was not the prosecutor of the man who raped my daughter. As a father who has seen his family go through too much pain already, I am asking for David Freed and the people who made this offensive advertisement to take it off the air immediately. If they can't convince people to vote for him without lying, he should not even be running. Now, this is the site here, and this is called the Republican State Leadership Committee. Now, it's based in Washington, D.C., and apparently it runs ads for various Republicans running for different state offices. And here's what it says. Fact check, Kane dodges and again misleads Pennsylvania voters. Falsely tells reporters she wasn't prosecutor on one case. Well, that's a case we just talked about. And it's pretty vile to accuse her. As you can see here, it says Kane went soft on rapists. Now, one of the things that's so offensive about this attack is that Kane is the one who started the Child Abuse Sexual Assault Unit at the Lackawanna DA's office. She has been a champion for women for a long time. But there's something else I want to talk about here more than the fact that this is a rather nasty, lying political ploy against Kathleen Kane, questioning her record. I don't know about this business about the numbers of cases she said she did. Now, I'm not exactly sure what her position was. I did some looking around. I couldn't quite find what I wanted. But it's possible that she oversaw these cases. That's why her name is on them. And that's why her name is on this one case. She had to sign off on it. She didn't prosecute it. She just had to sign off on it. But this man has a very good point. When you see all these attack ads, usually because somebody was killed, somebody was hurt, something like that, there are real people behind it. I'm sure that, I mean, can you imagine him looking at this and thinking of his daughter and think of what happened? And every time this ad would run, members of his family, including his daughter and his daughter's friends and their friends, would be reminded of a tragedy that they wanted to put behind them. And even the perpetrator's family, you know, just because he's a rapist doesn't mean everybody in his family is. He might have siblings that are just horrified by this. He might have a grandmother that's just in tears over this. Does she want to be reminded of this all the time? In this political season where people are doing things like this, I think this is something we we need to stop and start to consider. I'd never thought about this before. Whenever I'd seen these ads with, so and so is responsible for this horrible thing happening and that horrible thing happening. Many years ago, there was a television show called Rescue 911. Some of you might remember it. I think I've got the name right. But it was extremely popular. Excuse me. Because what would happen is they'd have up these shows every week that were based on real rescues. And, it was exciting with the ambulance, lights and sirens going, people rushing to rescue people. And, it was great. I mean, it was uplifting to see people being saved. And that's people like. We all like heroic stories. But this spawned a whole reality rescue kind of thing that started to happen on the news everywhere. Various different television stations started following rescues and videotaping them. And again, people were, whoa, yeah, isn't that exciting? Whoa, look at that happened. The problem with this was it also spawned a lot of lawsuits. People didn't appreciate having the cameras come into their home and videotape them when they're in, disarray, distress. And I can remember one case where, I think the man died, if I remember correctly, and his family was just horrified because some of his family didn't even know about it. They turn on the news and, oh my God, that's George, and they're seeing it live for the first time without anybody ever had told them, I'm sorry, your uncle just, something happened to him and he's dead, or whoever he was to them. They were watching it live. And to make it even worse, because all these, reality things, the rescue thing was so exciting and brought in ratings, the television stations would use those as promos to get people to watch the news. So it wasn't even a matter of people just not watching the news. You could be sitting watching an old rerun of I Love Lucy, and all of a sudden, here comes Uncle George. And this is very disturbing for people. You'll notice we don't see that anymore on television. Probably the only thing you see that's live like anything remotely like that is when you get to watch car chases. And if you're in the LA area, you get to watch a lot of car chases. There's actually, if those of you who are interested in that, look up online some of the LA television stations. I have some of them saved for other reasons, because I used to live down there and I like to keep track of the news. But there was this one station that had a whole car chase section. You could go there and check on and watch all the videos of the car chases of the last week or 2 or 3 or whatever. But they don't do that anymore because it was so incredibly intrusive. To have someone rush it, and people weren't even clothed. Somebody has a heart attack in the bathtub. I mean, come on, how incredibly embarrassing on top of everything else. I think we should start. Obviously, we should ask for a higher standard from the people who are running for office that we're getting. I don't think we're going to get any great changes soon because people are going to go for what works. I mean, you've seen that in the Romney campaign. He's basically depicting himself to be something he isn't. He's lying through his teeth to get votes. And now it's come back to bite him. But I think when we see ads like this, we need to stop and think about the people behind them. And if we have the opportunity, we need to find the people who are putting out these ads. Or even the people who the ads are for, because a lot of times, there are these different groups. They'll put out an ad for a candidate. The candidate knows nothing about. And, that could be very embarrassing. There have even been times in the past, by the way, where, let's say, it's the Republicans are the bad guys now. Let's use them. The Republicans might put out an ad supporting a Democratic candidate that's really offensive, but they put it out through a fake front organization, and they're doing it deliberately because people are going to see the ad and go, oh my goodness, isn't that Democrat a horrible human being? And the Republicans are sitting back going, oh yeah, that worked. But what can happen is when you contact the person the ad's being made for, they can speak out. And I've seen this happen many times before. And they can condemn the ads and say, this isn't me, this doesn't represent me, this is horrible. But I just wanted to bring this up because I really made me think about some things that I've accepted in political ads for a very long time and not thought about. I also like to point out one other thing. These people said they pulled the ad. They may have pulled the ad, but they've still got it on their website, because I just looked at this website. This is from like about an hour ago. I know you can't read it very well, but I'll leave the links below to the website, and it still says there's the claim that she did it. So apparently they pulled the ad, but they've still got it on their website. Well, anyway, so much for the Republican clowns, at least for today. And I actually find this very annoying. My parents were Republicans. I was raised in a Republican household, but it wasn't today's Republican Party. Poor Barry Goldwater is probably spinning in his grave, and sadly so is George Romney. Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching. Bye now.